Welcome, Saugus, to the second evening in the series of 3 forums focusing on the candidates for the Saugus Charter Commission. That is a big item on the ballot on November 7th. Probably the major item that voters will go to the polls to decide whether to have a charter commission to review potential improvements or changes in the government, in town government. And it doesn't guarantee that there'll be changes, but the commission that will be elected, the 9-member commission, will be making some recommendations. So it's not a set deal. This is an opportunity for the town to decide whether they want a review of the charter, and whether they want to consider possible changes. Tonight, we have 8 members. We heard from 9 last night. We'll hear from 8 tonight. And we invited, this is being sponsored by the Saugus Advocate and the Saugus TV. We invited all 27 members to be here. It's impossible to do. Nobody wanted to listen to 27 candidates in one night, so we decided to break it up into 3 separate forums. And we're going to hear in a couple of minutes. Lead off will be Ryan Fisher, member of the school committee in Saugus. And first question, why are you running? And do you want to see a change in Saugus town government? 3 minutes, please.
Okay. He's serious about the 3 minutes, so I'll get to it. My name's Ryan Fisher. I'm a lifelong Saugus resident. Going down the list, Danielle is my wife, Ella is my daughter, I have too many cats, I have a master's degree in business administration, I have a bachelor's degree in political science, I'm a government nerd, running for a 3rd term in the school committee, and I'm a former member of town meeting. It's not always easy to find volunteers to serve in town government. People are hesitant to get involved, it's a huge time commitment, and it can get really toxic. We're here because we all want to volunteer to spend 2 years in meetings reforming the town charter, which is pretty bland when you think about it, and we have 27 people running for that position. It's going to take 3 days for Mark, as he said, to just introduce everybody. This isn't about volunteering. This particular issue is about politics, it's about relationships, it's about teams, whose side are you on? It's about, I need people to run, can you help me out? And it's personal to the people involved. And be truthful, when you're dealing with power, that does get personal. We rarely change the town charter. It's our town constitution. The current version of the charter is 75 years old. It doesn't care about politics, it doesn't care who's in, who's out, or who's arguing with who. Most people here can't tell me who was on the board of selectmen or was town manager in the 1940s. I'm looking at some people who probably can. They all had their own problems, they had their own complaints, that had nothing to do with the charter itself. It's just day-to-day arguments like we all have every day. I heard a couple people in the last couple weeks at meetings say, I don't like what the town manager just did. This is why we need a charter commission. I heard someone else say his office is too powerful. We need a charter commission to weaken his office. The charter should be impervious to politics and personalities. You don't change it just because there's a bump in the road or who holds what office or who aspires to what office, because you're going to want to change it right back. The rules our grandparents followed are the same rules we're following today, and it's the same rules my grandchildren are going to follow. There's 250 other towns in Massachusetts. They all have the same problems we do. If they have a problem with their town manager, they vote for selectmen who will make a change. Those pushing the process in Saugus complain that's too hard. My solution is try harder. Politics will change every single day. And residents are pretty clear they don't want a city form of government in Saugus. We're here today, and I just want to point this out, because of a petition drive. People signed signatures, and they got this on the ballot, and here we are. 10 years ago, we had a petition drive in Saugus. And if you remember, people were very concerned about it. There was concern about
30 seconds to wrap up.
There was concerned about, is this a forgery? We had handwriting experts, magnifying glasses, look at the loop in this F. Does that look real to you? People had issues with it. Today, signature drives are now pretty popular because when people have political views, sometimes they'll change. Look at Congress. these people are spending too much money, then they're in, they don't care anymore. That's why the charter should be impervious to politics. It's not for short-term fixes. It's for the long-term health of the town and who we are as a community. So, thank you. Nice ringtone.
Our next speaker, Bob Long, town meeting member, longtime participant in Saugus town government.
Thank you for having this forum. What I'd like to talk about is that retaining the town government that we want to reach, we would actually want to settle here and raise your family much like I did. I have lived all my life here, as my wife has also, and very frankly, we wouldn't think of living anywhere else. At our age, it would only be the assisted living, but anyway, this town is a place where the government should represent the 28,000 people that we supposedly have, not 29, 30 or more, which I think we have, and not represent a small group of persons of special interest. I'm also running to ensure that any elected charter committee member who wants to run for it understands the current charter and to understand what we have before we start recommending changes. As the previous speaker, Brian, said, this is the town charter. It's an act of the legislature. It goes back to, according to the acts of 1928, actually, but it was amended in 1947, Chapter 17. And the latest update to the charter itself was actually 2013. In the back of the charter, if you were to get one from the town clerk, you'd find the years of all the updates, and if there were changes, if there aren't changes, there haven't been changes. So why I'm running is, I think before we get started into having discussions on what it is we want to change to, we need discussions on what we're coming from. That's my point of view. I think it's important that we know it. The charter has stood the test of time for a long time with a few amendments, and that's why I'm running, is actually see that we have some kind of a review. As a moderator in town here for 18 years, I would have a class for the newly elected members here in this room, and they would get to meet the manager, the chairman of the board of selectmen, chairman of the school committee, chairman of the finance committee, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they would meet the people who were actually in the school committee.
30 seconds to close.
They would have a chance to meet everybody, and then we would have an hour or so of questions regarding the charter. And I think that may be something we should be going back to, so we do understand what in God's name we're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Well, those are
Our
both
next speaker,
tough acts to follow.
Jeannie Meredith.
Good evening, Mr. Moderator, Saugus TV, residents in the audience, and folks watching at home. Sorry. Thank you.
Speaking to the mic, please.
I am a lifelong resident of Saugus, a third-generation Saugonian. My husband and I have raised 4 children and have 4 grandchildren. My son and his family have also chosen to raise my grandson here in Saugus. This makes us a 5-generation family in town. Saugus has always been and will always be my home, very near and dear to my heart. I feel the current form of government has been moving Saugus forward for the last 10-plus years. The town is in the best financial state it has ever been in the history of Saugus. We are a full-service community with new parks, playgrounds, continued capital planning, and infrastructure being improved actively. This current form of government provides the residents with much more accountability and transparency than a city council form of government. Moreover, this form of town government allows the residents to add their input at every phase of the process. We have a 50-member representative town meeting. Those 50 members are comprised of 5 members from each of our 10 precincts. They are all voted by the people. We have 5 school committee members, also voted by the people. We have 5 selectmen, voted by the people. This is a total of 60 people that are elected by our people in town, and they are held accountable by those people. versus if we had 9 people and then we had an elected in a city council, with the majority only being 5 people that would be making all the decisions for our town. The current form of government requires the town manager to go before the selectmen, the finance committee, which is also comprised of 9 members, and a town meeting for approval on all the spending, budget approvals, zoning, and bylaws. Town meeting members participate directly in this process, and they are informed on the issues at town meeting. A city and council form of government has less and smaller participation in the decision-making for those in a city and council form of government. The selectmen hire the manager. They need 4 out of 5 votes to do this. It's a supermajority. Under the current form of government, the manager is hired on merit, qualifications, education, and overall experience. If we move to a city form of government, there are no requirements of having any skills, experience, or education. It will purely be based on popularity contest and special interests of those of whom are donating to campaigns. As a resident and taxpayer of Saugus, I am running for the Charter Commission to ensure that we continue to allow the most citizen participation in government, to provide financial stability, transparency, and accountability to the people, and to continue to move Saugus in a positive direction. Thank you.
30 seconds to close. Okay.
Done?
Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you. My name is
Lawrence?
Lawrence Mingolelli. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell you why I'm running for the Charter Commission. I moved here from Arlington in 1992 to Precinct 1 with my family. I have no political background, but I always had an interest in the town. I later bought a home in Precinct 9 because I fell in love with the town of Saugus. I operate my company here in Saugus. Since then, I've worked in many homes and businesses here in this great town of Saugus. I have listened to the woes of many of residents about how our town is being run and how they want change. The town charter has needed updating for many years, and the Saugus residents deserve better and how things will be done today. I have no ill towards any of our public officials. I just do not agree with them being appointed with any other in office. Political seats should not be a popularity contest, and all voters should have the right to vote for every member in office. I believe I can be the voice of the blue-collar workers in this town and give the voice to every one of them, starting with giving the opportunity to vote for all town officials. I will then listen to the residents of the town and bring it forward to the elected members of the charter. The residents, the voices will be heard, and I will make sure that they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence. Planning Board Chairman John O'Brien.
Good evening, all. Name is John O'Brien. I am not a lifelong resident of Saugus. I grew up in the big city, my first 20 years. I've lived here for 48. This town has given me golden opportunities. I've had the opportunity to build my own home in Longwood Ave. I've raised 2 children. I've run 2 successful businesses out of this town. This is the opportunity that the town of Saugus has given me. I am not for change. When something's not broke, we don't touch it. You leave it alone. You make adjustments to it. At this time, I do not see a benefit of this town becoming a city. The cost to do so and the time to make the change is astronomical. It plays a huge part within the government, and it takes, like I said, a long time to make the change. I have been a basketball coach. I was the vice president of the Saugus National Little League for some years. I sponsored many teams, dealt with many children and many parents. I've had the opportunity to speak to a few people, and they have the same feelings that I do. If it's not broke, why touch it? In going forward, I think I'd be a good candidate for the board because I'm a good listener. As I said, I am the current chair of the planning board, and it's excruciating the time that it takes. If this, however, was a city, it would be a paid position of about $73,000 a year. Right now, we have boards that are doing this out of the goodness of their heart. The appeals board, the planning board, the financial boards. These are all volunteer positions. It doesn't cost the town. When we make a change to a city, it's going to cost this town. It's going to cost them dearly. I've looked into the cost just to put this charter together, and it could cost this town up to $100,000. Money we don't have to spend. You're gonna put $100,000, let's put it into the Saugus sports system. It's something that we really need to think deep about, and I don't see the change working. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Next speaker, town meeting member Sue Palomba.
Mark Vogler, candidates and Saugus residents, good evening. My name is Sue Palomba. First, I'd like to thank everyone for the opportunity to speak this evening. I grew up locally in Wakefield, Massachusetts. I am a first-generation American with parents who immigrated here when I was a newborn. I went to first grade not speaking English and helped my parents build their net worth in real estate. I believe in the American dream, and all this amazing country and town has to offer to my family is a testament to that possibility. I want to help others build their American dream as well. I believe that success comes from hard work and perseverance. I started working at the age of 14. When I was working, I was helping my family. I was the oldest child, which taught me responsibility, both in my professional and personal life. My husband, Americo, and I started out living in Everett for about 9 years. We loved Everett, but ultimately we wanted to move to Saugus to start our family. We moved on Appleton Street 23 years ago in Saugus. I love the community and the street we picked, and we continue to love our town. We bought our single-family home here in Saugus and raised our 2 daughters here. Today, one of my daughters, her husband, and my granddaughter live with me as part of this community. I'm invested in Saugus and want to make this community amazing, a place where our families can get the best that Saugus has to offer. Volunteering and being a part of the community is a huge part of my life. I volunteer at the Senior Center, the Saugus Everett Elks, and I was elected as town meeting member in 2017. I am also the vice president for Saugus Cable and the Lions, and most recently, the secretary of the Friends of Family. I was nominated. And also I'm also a member of the Saugus Watershed, a member of SAVE and the Garden Club. I have been a town meeting member since 2017. I make it a priority when issues and challenges come my way for my constituents to solve the problems they address. I have met the most amazing people in this town, and they bring so much to our community. I also manage a business here in Saugus on Main Street, and I am committed to making this community where all businesses can strive. We live in a rapidly changing world. Communities that prepare for future will prosper. Today, people and businesses can choose to live and work anywhere. The quality of life is more important than ever. I want our government to be a positive force for good. To do that, we must address critical issues from education, healthcare, to the environment and economic development.
30 seconds.
Saugus has its strength, and we need to capitalize on that as we plan for the future. We must capitalize our assets, our architecture, history, and natural surroundings rather than trying to adopt a new and different identity. We can look to other successful communities, such as Linfield, Reading, Wellesley, that utilize a variety, to name a few, of private sector and market incentives to influence new development. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Next speaker, Board of Selectmen Vice Chair Debra Panetta.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank Mark Vogler for holding these 3 important forums, as well as my fellow candidates for attending, and SCTV. And ladies and gentlemen, my name is Debra Panetta, and I'm married to Mark Panetta. We have 2 children, Mark Jr. and Sabrina. My family has always felt it was important to give back to our community. I've been involved in Saugus committees and boards for over 3 decades, and I've seen our town evolve. Although I am open-minded for making changes to our charter, just like I was when I was elected in 2007 to the last Charter Commission, I do not want a city form of government. Our town has come a long way since its days of financial turmoil and uncertainty. Today, we are proud to boast a AA+ stable bond rating from Standard & Poor's, reflecting our strong economy and budget performance, saving taxpayers millions of dollars. I've seen our stabilization fund grow from $250,000 to over $10 million. Now there are calls to make Saugus a city. This proposal is not just questionable, but it would also strip away the very essence of what makes Saugus special. Our town government is rooted in strong tradition of direct democracy, where residents have a more prominent role in deciding who represents them and how their community is governed. Under our current charter, each board and commission has limited authority as to what their duties are. Our city government would replace the voices of 50 town meeting members, 9 finance committee members, and 5 selectmen, with as little as 7 or perhaps 9 councilors. This would centralize power in the hands of a small group, taking away the voices of the people and the checks and balances that keep our government accountable. We would also be replacing volunteers with paid positions. A consolidation of power and authority can be very disconcerting. Moreover, Saugus is not a city by its character, historical thread, or demographics. Our resident base is not nearly as diverse as our neighboring cities, and our population is less than half than the size of many. Additionally, our unbalanced demographic, combined with a higher income per capita, would not result in increased state funding. Saugus is already making great strides with new parks and playgrounds, a beautiful new middle high school,
30 seconds
and
to close.
revitalizing Cliftondale Square. Let us not lose sight of what truly makes Saugus special. I believe it's our small town charm, rich history, deep roots in volunteerism, and our strong sense of community. Our town is thriving and our future is bright, but only if we remain true to our roots. Let us not surrender the values that make Saugus a great place to live, work, and raise a family. Let us keep Saugus the town of Saugus. If the Charter Commission does pass, I feel it's important to have a seat at the table and lend my expertise and advocacy to this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Debra. And our final speaker on this question, Matthew David
Parlante. Thank you. Can you hear me? Sound okay? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Why are you running?
Thank you, Mark. I just want to take time and thank the Advocate and Saugus TV for putting this together. I think it's absolutely informative for the residents and extremely important, and I thank you. I just want to also thank the residents that are taking the time to watch this and be informed about this very, very important decision, as well as the people I've met on the trail and all the support I have. Big shout out to them. Thank you. Running for office for me is really just the next natural thing. My life has always been embedded in service to others. At 18 years old, I joined the Marine Corps. I've started programs in the community like Coats for Kids, as well as the Thanksgiving Back Project. At 42 years old, I gave up a 23-year career with Verizon, the telephone company, to pursue my dream job of being a firefighter. Saugus has been my home for 18 years. I want to see improvements in the community. I want to see improvements in the quality of life and education for our residents and children. I want to see our community thrive and grow in the changing environment around us while keeping our values and charm intact. Changes like this can only be made through a commission with open-minded people. I'm one of those people. I'm one of those residents, and I just want to thank you again for having this tonight, Mark. Thank you.
Do you want to see change?
I want to see improvements. I said that. I want to see improvements.
Thank you, David. Question 2. What makes you the best qualified candidate to serve on this 9-member commission? Ryan Fisher.
My father used to have this expression, which is always a good way to start an answer. He said, as long as everyone's a little ticked off at you, you're doing a good job, right? And I've always tried to carry that with me. I try not to fall into groupthink. I try not to decide an issue and then work backwards and figure out how I got there. I try not to have my mind made up for me. I try and get frustrated with just about everybody, and that's how it works in a small town. That's how you get results, and that's how you get consensus. And that's something I excel at pretty well. When I enter a situation, I don't let myself get tricked by false logic. And what I mean by that is, put it to the situation. If I'm told that Saugus needs a change, if we have weeds, if we have a pothole, if we have something that aggravates people, and we have a solution to it, a charter commission that will solve all of our problems, my first reaction is, I don't think abolishing representative town meeting and switching to a city form of government is going to get that weed trimmed any quicker. Sometimes it's enough to say, you know what, I think some problems are always going to exist. Who are we as a people, and how do we resolve those problems day to day? My thought on this process is...
30 seconds to close.
You got it. My thought on this process is a lot of the issues that we're looking at right now are based on personality. I think if, looking at Deb as I say this, if the Board of Selectmen and the town manager and all the recognized names in town, if they all bought a house in Canada and moved out tomorrow, and we got personality out of it, I think you'd see a lot of people say, why are we even bothering with this commission? And I think you need people in there who think that way.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome.
Bob Long, what makes you the best qualified to serve on this commission?
Wow. I probably could go
minutes.
back longer in time than anyone else on this board, but I've always had an interest in the town itself, in town government, having grown up here. And just the way the personalities have been over
Speak
the
into the
years.
mic, please.
But what qualifies me, I feel, as to represent the town on this charter committee would be the participation that I have had in government, such as 5 years as chairman of the planning board. I served 4 years as a selectman, approximately 40 years as a town meeting member, with 18 of those as the moderator, a person who actually is elected by the town meeting to represent them and to run the meetings. Currently, I'm running as a new town meeting member from Precinct 4 because I've been redistricted from 9 to 4. So it's kind of a new experience going house to house collecting signatures. Because there's a new person running, and even though it's only the same town and everything, you have to get new signatures to run in that new precinct. But I got a nice feeling from talking to the people that I spoke with about how they like being what we are, a town. And in this town here, you can go to any one of our meetings and be heard. If you can go to the selectmen's meeting,
30 seconds to close.
you can go to the selectmen's meeting, you can go to the school committee meeting, you can go to town meeting. In our bylaw, it tells you in the bylaw that you actually have, every town resident has 3 minutes to speak on any article at town meeting. So I think it's important to keep those things for the public. In addition to what I have done with the town, I am also currently on the board of GLIS, the Greater Lynn Senior Services Board of Directors, as well as the Janet Lucy Residence Board of Directors up here in Talbot and Denver Street. So,
Time up.
thank you.
Thank you. Jeannie Meredith, what makes you the best qualified to serve on this 9-member commission if it's created by town voters on November 7th?
I have 30 years of public involvement and unwavering commitment to the people that live here. I have served on the school committee for 6 years, chaired the school building committee, which oversaw the building of the new Saugus Middle High School complex. The
Speak into the
renovation.
mic, please.
Better. The renovation of the Veterans Memorial School and the safety and structural enhancements at the Belmonte STEAM Academy. President of many parent-teacher organizations, wellness advisory boards, co-founder to Saugus Anti-Drug Coalition, Saugus United Against Substance Use, numerous educational subcommittees over the past several years, including Policy Subcommittee, Athletics Subcommittee, Food Service, Safety and Transportation, Building Maintenance, and Teacher Sick Bank. I have always been an active volunteer in my parish at St. Margaret's Church. I was a religious education coordinator for grades 7 and 8, as well as a parent leader for grades 9 and 10th for the confirmation class for over 14 years. I am currently a Eucharistic minister and serve on the Finance Committee at St. Margaret's and Blessed Sacrament Collaboratives. I also serve as a member on Healthy Students, Healthy Saugus, as well as our Dog Park Committee. As the Vice Chairman for the Saugus Planning Board, I have been an outspoken advocate for proper notice to the abutters and for the proposed development projects and zoning articles. There must be a balance between progress and preservation of our community and neighborhoods. I am confident that we can achieve this balance if we work together. I feel I am well-suited for one of the 9 seats on the Charter Commission, as I have a proven track record to be a dedicated voice for the people, and I will continue to listen to the needs and wants of the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Lawrence, what makes you best qualified to serve on this 9-member commission?
Well, I think I'm a great candidate because I have no political ties in Saugus. I'm the everyday man that goes to work, pays his taxes, helps provide for his family. When the opportunity came up to run for the charter, I jumped on the chance. I went door to door, got my signatures, and listened to everything and everyone that had anything to say, or the persons that signed my nomination papers that had to say. I'm affected by the troubles in our great town like every other resident that have not been heard. I want my voice, as well as in all the residents of Saugus, to be heard. Like I said before, I've listened to the residents, and I will continue to listen to them to bring their concerns to the Charter Commission meetings. I wear my sweatshirt when I'm out. Anyone can call my number. My cell phone number's on the back. Any resident in Saugus that has any concerns has the way to reach me. We have over 28,000 Saugus residents that deserve to have their voices heard. No official should be appointed. I understand we have a low voter turnout, but it is more than 5 elected that appoint to our town manager. Give me the chance to vote for who they feel will do the job for the best. We need to stop fearing change and work together as a community to make the changes that need to be helped for the town of Saugus. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. John O'Brien, what makes you best qualified to serve on this 9-member commission?
Well, first I'll say I am no politician. I keep an open mind, and I'm running to help keep this town a town. As I said earlier, if everyone votes no on question 1, we don't need a charter. It goes away. We remain a town. As far as negotiations, I've worked in negotiations for years with a very large union company, construction company, where we negotiated jobs, both time and material. On that aspect, as I mentioned earlier, I am the chair of the planning board, and it's a position that requires a lot of listening and a lot of output and a lot of protection to the town. I like the mere fact that the town is involved. Our meetings are open for anyone from this town to come in and express their concerns, as most meetings in the town are. Again, I'm a good listener, and I'll research anything that's needed to keep this town on the track that it's going. The mere fact that we have a new high school, we have a AA bond rating, we have an excess of funds, is all good to hear. I don't think this will happen under a city, but I'm willing to listen to those that want it to be. Won't change my mind, but I'm willing to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Sue, in 2 minutes or less, what makes you best qualified to serve on this 9-member charter commission?
Thank you, Mark. I shared that I've built my family and my business in this town, and I will forever be grateful for that. I am even more excited about what the future holds for Saugus, and I am committed to making that a reality, to make the town the best that it can be for my growing family, and most importantly, for yours. In business, I have learned success comes from listening, but also being strong enough to make changes in action based on what you have heard and learned. If elected as a member of the Saugus Charter Commissioner, I plan to listen and promise to act on bringing positive change that matters. I will listen to current and past elected officials. I will listen to our department heads and employees. I will listen to our elected and appointed leaders in the school department. I will listen to officials from other communities. I will listen to experts who have developed successful charters. Most important, I will listen to the people of Saugus, and I will insist that there will be multiple opportunities for you to be heard. Finally, not only will I listen, but I will be committed to making change and opportunities for the Saugus residences, businesses, families, students, seniors, and for all of those that can benefit from what this town has to offer. I will also lead with respect and integrity. This is how we build our brand for Saugus. Please consider me for one of the 9 votes if you decide to vote yes to form the Charter Commissioner. I am number 16 on the ballot. I'd also like to clarify that if you vote no, still pick the candidates that you would like to see pick in case the charter passes. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Sue. Debra, what makes you best qualified to serve on this 9-member commission, if it's created?
Thank you, Mark. I feel that I am well qualified to serve on this Charter Commission. In terms of education, I received my bachelor's in accounting from Suffolk University and my master's in business administration from Northeastern University. I also possess multiple business certifications, including my project management professional, PMP. I also received my distinguished Toastmaster designation twice. I have worked in accounting, finance, actuarial, and strategic management positions for over 35 years. Being involved in town boards and committees for over 30 years, I have a deep understanding of where we've been and what we've accomplished. I have a deep care for our town, Saugus, and the residents that live here. My involvement includes 10 continuous years being on the Board of Selectmen, currently Vice Chairman and past Chairman. Current member of the Saugus Business Education Collaborative. I care deeply about our schools. Served as Vice Chairman on the last elected Charter Commission from 2007 through 2009 and worked very hard on that commission. Served as the Chairman of the Saugus School Committee. Served as a town meeting member for 10 years representing Precinct 5. Served on the Master Plan Advisory Committee. Served as Secretary on the Cliftondale Revitalization Committee. Served as Secretary on the Family Related Apartments Committee. Served on the Community Vision and Scope Task Force.
30 seconds to close.
Served on the Tree Committee for 12 years and on the School Building Committee. I am also the President of the Saugus River Watershed Council, past President and current member of SAVE, as well as a member of the Women's Guild, Garden Club, Historical Society, Conservation Law, and the Sierra Club. I believe my work and town experience, along with my education, makes me a qualified choice for this Charter Commission, and I respectfully ask for your support on November 7th, and I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, right on the dot. David, what is, Matthew, I'm sorry. Matthew, what are the qualifications you make you best suited to serve on this commission?
Some of my leadership qualities include my commitment to community, my ability to see different perspectives, and my persistence to get things done. It's pretty clear there's tons and tons of political experience, even some candidates who work for the town. I have no political experience. I do not work for the town, nor do I have any other conflict of interest. What I bring to the table is my commitment to community, making sure your experiences and input are present and that the community is well informed and educated during this process. My ability to put my own judgments and opinions aside in order to hear someone else's perspective is something that I'm constantly trying to enhance. It's going to take some real uncomfortable conversations during this commission, and it's going to take something to not walk away from them without resolve. I believe I can be that voice of reason. My persistence to get the job done is something that drives me on a daily basis, especially in my career. You know, my job, people usually call us when they need some help. And sometimes this help is complex and dangerous.
30 seconds to close.
It takes all of us, our experience, our knowledge, all of us together to find the solution. Let's make sure I didn't miss anything. I apply this type of work ethic to everything I do, and I'll bring it to this commission if I'm elected. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. We're going to move on to the final question. You briefly summarize the major changes that you want to see in Saugus government. And if you're adamantly opposed to any change, state that. But let's stick on the point, the question, what are the major changes you would advocate for if elected to this commission? Ryan Fisher, you're on.
All right. I had a lot to say in my first question, so I forget if I said thank you, Mark, for all you do, but thank you for all you do. What am I opposed to and what would I advocate for? No one should be able to say yet what they're going to conclusively advocate for. We are asking to, if a commission is established, work for 2 years to work towards that goal. I feel like if I walked into the room on day one and said, here's the plan, and I'm not moving off it, I'd be abdicating that responsibility, and I wouldn't be doing what I promised to do. Are there things I'd like to look into? Sure, if I'm on that committee, and I'll talk about those. How we got to this point, I feel like, is we were told initially we're going to become a city, and we're going to, I think it was elect our first mayor in 2027. It'd be a big win for Saugus because cities bring in more money than towns. We'd lose town meeting, of course, but the money would make it worth it. Money comes into a city usually because it has a lot more people than a town, so that doesn't really, equate to a lot more money. And what kind of happened, I noticed, is people kind of really stood up and said, we don't want to be a city, we want to be a town. So what I've noticed is that the conversation is now shifting to, we're going to elect a town manager. It's kind of softening over the fact that we would be getting rid of town meeting. As the other candidate said, we'd be going to a city council form of government. That's something I am against. I'm against us becoming a city, and I think that's important to note. If we call ourselves a town, but we're still a city, then we're a city. If I went into Revere right now and I said, you're a town now, the mayor's the town manager, and we're going to scratch city off all the doors and write town in, it doesn't change who they are. We would be a town in name only if that were to happen. If the committee is established, are there things I'd look at? I would strengthen town meeting. I'm sitting next to a former moderator of town meeting. I served on it for 2 years. One thing I notice about town meeting, and you know this, is it meets irregularly. It's kind of like summer camp. You get to see your friends after a while. And it has these marathon sessions. They deal with very important issues. They appropriate all the money that's spent in the town. They deal with who we are as a community and very important issues. And sometimes these sessions go on quite late into the night. And there's that pressure to not stand up and say you have a problem with something because everyone wants to go home. I would look to strengthen town meeting, have it meet more regularly. That's something.
You have 30 seconds to close.
I'm not going to use them all because I'm pretty much done now, but thank you for, everyone's happy. I'm not going to talk anymore. But thank you for everything you do, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to weigh in tonight.
Thank you, Ryan.
My turn?
Bob Long,
Okay.
do you see,
To me, the question that was handed to me was, briefly summarize the major changes you want to see and explain why they're needed. I'd like to turn that around a little bit and say, what is it I think we don't need to lose? And that is the ability of the entire town, as I mentioned earlier, to go to any one of our meetings and be heard. And to think that the public and that the committee members don't take that seriously, you'd be very much wrong, based on my years of experience here. Remember this, that any form of town government is only as good as the people that serve it. You can put anything in you want, but if you don't have good people, it's going to fall flat. It's not going to give you the desired results. Now, with regard to the charter change that we're asking for here, it's going to be on the ballot. Do you want to see a committee review that? It's like anything, times do change. Community needs change. And I think that we should not be making change just for the sake of making change. You can look at such things, and we've done it before, as far as looking at staggered elections for the school committee, staggered elections for the Board of Selectmen. My history has shown me, rather, that when we are not happy with a board, well, if there's 5 people standing for election, the town will pick and choose who it wants to sit on the next board. So I kind of like the idea that I was talking with Peter Manukin, who was a proponent of the last charter change committee. Peter suggested that we could do this. Should the charter question not pass next month, that we at town meeting with a vote of a signature of 10 people, we can ask the town meeting to vote to establish a town study, charter study committee, which would then would report back to the town meeting, report back to the citizens. We are a state form of government. Let's not forget that. Anything that we propose to as changes have to go through the legislature and be voted by.
30 seconds to close.
So that's how I see it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Jeannie Meredith,
Thank you, Mark.
summarize the changes you'd like to see, if you want to see some changes.
There are a couple things that I would like to be considered in our local government. I would like to discuss staggered elections for our elected officials, as this would promote continuity, allowing for a continuation of common goals and priorities, which promotes greater stability for our town. Second, I would like to explore increasing the number of town meeting members. Representative town meetings in Massachusetts range from 50 to 429 members, with an average size of 214. In my opinion, town meeting members are the closest voice to the people and to the residents of Saugus. I would like to mention that these two items can also be done within our existing government by submitting articles to town meeting at no cost to the residents in town. We hear a lot of talk of having an elected town manager. There is no community that has an elected town manager form of government. What these people are not telling you is that they really want to turn Saugus into a city with a mayor. Think of it. How would you elect a town manager? What qualifications would this person have other than popularity and the ability to raise funds from developers and those who want to exploit Saugus for profit? Potentially electing an unqualified town manager or mayor that would be responsible for a $120 million budget is reckless and irresponsible. This is a dangerous road that I am not comfortable traveling down. I will leave you with this thought. Who will fund these campaigns in Saugus? Who will be the big donors? Who will be looking for more big development, more apartments for people that don't live in Saugus, which creates more traffic and congestion in our neighborhoods? Thank you, Mark and Saugus TV, for giving us all the opportunity to express our views. Please consider me for one of your 9 votes if this charter commission is passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Larry, what do you see as the changes if you're elected to the commission?
I believe we need more accountability in our town, holding more people responsible for their decisions. All elected members need to work together better in keeping the needs of the Saugus residents at the top of the priority list. Our town charter has not been reviewed in decades, not even years. If the charter passed, I'm elected, I will help review the current charter to help make the necessary changes that need to make to help to our community. Changing the charter does not mean Saugus going from a town to a city. It is reviewing a charter that is outdated and needs to, let's call it a facelift. If I agree with my fellow running mates on some of the key points mentioned, maybe we do need alternative committee members in the case that there's a vacancy. I have heard so many great ideas that only strengthen the opinion that the charter needs to be reviewed. You are not voting to absolute change. You are voting to change, to make the change by the elected 9 people you trust, review the changes that need to be done. I do feel strongly about the appointed officials. I'm a registered voter, and I feel that the voters should have the vote for all the official positions. Maybe if the voters felt that they meant something, that they would have a higher turn on the polls. I'm your everyday guy, but in reality, I'm here for the people of Saugus, and I'm wanting to at least look at the opinion to move the town forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. John O'Brien, do you want to see any changes, and if so,
Mr.
explain why.
Moderator, thank you. There's always changes here. We have cars that get flat tires, we have all kinds of changes that happen. So changes aren't a bad thing, but changes in the right direction are a very good thing. We're in a good financial position now with the town. Could we be better? Maybe. Could it be worse? Yes. The way town government is structured, to have open meetings, to have town people come, invest their time to try to make it better. It's all about listening. It's all about taking it, mixing it up, and see where we come out in the end. So I'm very, very up for this type of government versus a city council, which is 5 members that make all the decisions on no matter what we do. I believe in being able to make proper decisions. I believe in being able to take and decipher whatever's given to us by town people, turning it around so that it makes the best decisions for the town. And I feel that I would be very good at it. And I thank you for the time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John. Sue?
Thank you, Mark. I'd like to see more involvement from our Saugus residents. At the present time, we have a population of around 28,000. 12,167 are active voters, 9,057 are inactive, and 3,602 are non-voters. Less than half of our town is currently voting. I'd like to see an increase in those numbers because I believe you deserve to be heard and deserve to have a say. I am also committed to spanning the focus across the large demographic of this town. Diversity is key, especially in a world like today. Different people bring different experiences, backgrounds, and viewpoints to the table. In a town as diverse as ours, it's crucial that we must reflect on diversity to ensure that all voices are heard and considered. It's beneficial to have all backgrounds engaged and benefiting, from education to law, to businesses to healthcare, to blue-collar workers, to homemakers, to seniors, and to students. In conclusion, I will ensure that our local government uses the richness of our community's voice, so together we can continue to build a stronger future for our town. The biggest change I want to see is that we become more unified more unified community with the focus on building strong relationships together and being unified towards one common goal. Out of the gate, we already have something in common, making Saugus better. Unity is strength. I see a lot of passion last night, and I see a lot of passion here. Unity is strength. There is power in numbers. When people work together, we can overcome challenges and accomplish any goal. The development of our town, which is a community, depends on this spirit. I am committed to working as a leader and to bring success to Saugus. Good night. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Sue. Debra?
Thank you, Mark. Although I don't feel there are any major changes that are needed in a current charter, I think there are some updates that are needed. I'm going to just add a few examples. Article 2, Section 1A states that no person's name may appear on the ballot for more than one major townwide elective office. Because of this section, I was told in 2007 that I couldn't run for both selectman and charter commission, but today I can. So I certainly think that this needs to be clarified. Article 2, Section 16 discusses the appointment of the Board of Public Welfare. We no longer have this board. Article 2, Section 34, that states that on or before the 15th of February of each year, the town manager shall submit to the selectmen a budget. The selectmen then need to submit their recommendations to the Finance Committee by March 1st. This is a very tight timeline and perhaps could be pushed out a little bit to give some additional time for review. The last Charter Commission proposal was voted down in 2009, 53% to 47%. The Charter Commission had 65 meetings, we had forums, and much community involvement. Although that charter didn't pass, town meeting took the best ideas and voted to incorporate those ideas into our charter. And we could still do that today. We could put an article in front of town meeting to request that a committee be formed to review our charter, say, every 5 years. I also support staggered elections. Currently, selectmen and school committee members are voted in office once every 2 years. If 5 new people are elected as selectmen, for example, you could have a brand-new board with no experience or knowledge of the office. This can lead to bad decisions, rework, and potential lawsuits. However, we don't need a charter commission to put this on the ballot. In fact, this was put on the ballot back in 2016, but it lost by the same margin as the 2009 proposed charter. The bottom line is that we do not need a charter commission to change the charter. Town meeting has the authority to make those proposed changes. I have always felt that communication is key, whether it be in work, in a relationship, or in our town. We move forward by listening and responding appropriately. People should be free to speak without feeling intimidated or ridiculed. How people communicate to one another, and more importantly, how they communicate about one another, can lead to either positive collaboration or divisiveness. My years of Saugus government show that we are stronger and achieve more positive changes when we all work together. We may have our differences, but I believe we all share a common goal. What's best for Saugus? We all want a bright and prosperous future for our town.
30 seconds to
I am
close.
proud of the accomplishments that we have made together, working together. And I feel confident that we are moving in the right direction. I want to thank everybody for their time tonight, the people in the audience, you, Mark, SCTV. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Matthew David, you have the last word tonight.
Thank you, Mark.
What would you see?
First change I'd like to see is in voter turnout, especially for this election. I'm urging all residents to get out and vote. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Get involved, get out and vote. Demand more from your leaders, current and future. This charter review is an opportunity to look at what's working and what could work better. Research, attention to detail, and community input are vital. We are currently underrepresented in this town. Saugus is one of 2 communities with under 100 town meeting representatives. Every other town in our state has anywhere from 136 to 324 town meeting members, all varying charters and options which we can pull ideas from. Increasing opportunities for civic duty and implementing longer terms to keep institutional knowledge and have opportunities for new people to get involved is a must for our current form of government. Quorum, which is how many members it takes to pass something through town meeting, is half plus 1. That's 26 people for 28,000 residents. My opinion, it doesn't work. Understandably, people are busy today. The circumstances that surround us can be overwhelming at times, to say the least. Add being a parent in there, and civic duty becomes a lesser priority. If we can't get enough participation, then we may want to take a look at other options. Electing all our representation and holding them accountable through our election process might make sense. How many seconds, Mark?
52 seconds. I'll let you go to the China.
The answers can be found in the commission. It's that simple. Again, I'll say it one more time. I think this charter is an opportunity. I think that it's a real opportunity if we get the right people in there, people who are open-minded and committed to community and committed to really getting the best results for what we have and what we need and what we're going to need in the future. It makes sense to look at it. It makes sense to put in the charter a lot of the things that people were talking about yesterday, today. There's a lot of good reasons to look at the charter, and we need the commission to do it. 26 people through town meeting isn't enough for 28,000, in my opinion. We need this commission. We need to take a good look at what we have and what we need. Thank you. I want to just thank all the residents again for taking the time to be informed tonight. This is a very important decision. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the candidates for taking the time tonight to appear and answer the 3 questions and to enlighten the voters about some of the issues involved with the ballot question on November 7th. I'd like to thank the about 20 people in the audience who took the time to give us a live audience for this live telecast, which can also be viewed on Vimeo Saugus TV tomorrow sometime. For the past 2 nights, we've heard from 16 candidates, 16 of the 27 candidates running for the 9 seats in the Charter Commission. Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, we will hear from 9 other candidates, and hopefully this will be a compilation. This would be a good start if the town decides to create a Charter Commission. You get some people who would probably be interested in coming before the hearings and talking about sharing some of these ideas that we've heard the last 2 nights. And get out and vote Saugus on November 7th. Woo! See you tomorrow night.